So good morning, everyone. We are the Acafe Express and we are going to report about JG Summit Holdings for our ACMAS PAA. So we have 5 target objectives. First, identify the different business units of JGS and discuss their products. Second, for each business unit of JGS, provide an example of a business risk it faces and then describe an example of a control that could be used to reduce the business risk your group has identified. Third, for each business unit, categorize the strategy as being focused on customer intimacy, operational excellence, and product leadership. Fourth, identify one corporate social responsibility program of JGS and discuss whether it is a good program or not. Provide also suggestions on how to improve such a program and the reason behind your suggestion. Fifth, after going over the annual report of JGS, is the document purely a financial accounting document or not? Why or why not? So this video is divided into 5 parts. Part 1, Christine Cahinta. Part 2, Noriel Alisoso. Part 3, Jamie Kahambing. Part 4, Andrea Bernardino. And Part 5, Lionel Caballes.
Part 1. Identify the different business units of JGS and discuss their products. JG Summit Holdings Incorporated have been working with other prominent businesses that enable the group to capitalize on emerging opportunities, propel overall recovery and growth, and help create a better normal for all our stakeholders. JGS Business Units. Cebu Pacific, Philippines' leading airline offering 26 international destinations and 37 domestic destinations. Robinsons Bank, one of the fastest growing commercial banks in the Philippines in terms of capitalization and asset size. JG Summit Petrochemicals Group, pioneer in the petrochemical industry in the Philippines, having 2 wholly owned petrochemical investments. First is the JG Summit Petrochemical Corporation. This is the largest manufacturer of polyolefins in the Philippines. Second is the JG Summit Olefins Corporation. It operates the first and only naphtha cracker plant in the country. Robinsons Land Corporation, one of the leading real estate and property developers in the Philippines with a proven track record of over 30 years in the industry. Universal Robina, one of the largest branded consumer food and beverage product companies in the Philippines. Luzon International Premier Airport Development Corporation, or LIPAD, a special purpose company established to manage the operations and maintenance of Clark International Airport. Data Analytics Ventures Incorporated, or DAVI, comprised of industry leaders and up-and-comers whose expertise range from data innovation, e-commerce, business development, technology, and marketing. JG Digital Equity Ventures Incorporated, the corporate venture capital arm of JG Summit Holdings Incorporated. JG Dev was created to be a gateway between new technologies and talented entrepreneurs. Global Business Power, a holding company that has become a leading independent power producer in the Visayas region and Mindoro Island. Singapore Land Group Limited, SLG, a Singapore-based real estate company and is one of the leading diversified developers of commercial and retail properties. Meralco, largest private sector electric distribution utility company in the Philippines. It provides electricity to 6.3 million customers in 36 cities and 75 municipalities in a franchise area. And lastly, the PLDT Incorporated, or the PLDT. PLDT is the leading telecommunications and digital services provider in the Philippines, offering a wide range of telecommunications services across the country's most extensive fiber optic backbone and fixed lines and cellular networks.
Moving on to the second part, for each business unit of JG Summit Holdings, provide an example of a business risk it faces and then describe an example of a control that could be used to reduce the business risk your group has identified. For the first business unit, Universal Robina Corporation, we identified the risk of having a supply chain disruption. As a control, we need one that puts an emphasis on the sourcing of raw materials. In this particular stage, ensuring the supplier's quality while having a diversified supply base is substantially beneficial. It would be desirable to establish good relationships among suppliers with good reputation across different regions to address issues on transport delays and compromises to quality. Next, Robinson's Land Corporation. To mitigate having poor labor management relations adversely affecting employees' performance and ultimately resulting into a reputational risk, there is a need to establish and tailor a feedback system or an open door policy. This feedback system would serve as an avenue for the employees to raise their concerns so that their needs are effectively addressed. This system is two-way, wherein the top management can be transparent regarding the employees' retention, compensation, and even with the operational changes. For Cebu Air Incorporated, to mitigate regulatory or compliance risks, recovery plans should be already on hand. This recovery plan shall have an emphasis on regulatory risk management. However, with the severity of this pandemic for quite a time, it is imperative for the company to engage in close and continuous monitoring and collaboration with the government in order to curtail flexible operations. Moreover, the risk management shall include the alignment of operations to new regulations by informing those departments affected by the regulatory changes. Facing a similar business risk with Cebu Air Incorporated, JG Summit Petrochemicals Group must have constant monitoring of the regulatory environment, identification of relevant changes, and assessment of opportunities and threats the regulatory changes might bring. Moreover, determination of who will be affected by the change and being transparent to them. Most importantly, relevant changes shall be reconciled with the firm's policies and controls. For Robinsons Bank Corporation, we have identified a business risk of critical financial information from the database being stolen and unauthorized access. The risk that technology poses can be mitigated through technology itself. As a control, firewall protection should be heightened to prevent hackers from corrupting essential files in the database. Aside from hackers, there is a reasonable possibility for employees to access restricted files. A robust access control, which involves data encryption, passwords, and etc., is an effective control. Heading to the next business unit, an accurate budget estimates is a business risk for Luzon International Premier Airport Development Corporation. As a control, a thorough budget review process should be implemented. This emphasizes a segmentation of accumulated budgets. That clear and proper breakdown must be well disclosed and presented. Next, there must also be a rigorous analysis conducted on each line item of proposed budgets to ensure that the values are reasonable. JG Digital Equity Ventures Incorporated is exposed to cybersecurity attacks. Thus, employees should undergo security awareness training. This involves phishing simulations to gauge their consciousness on what to do when an actual attack occurs. However, it is not only outsiders that are probable to attack the venture, as employees can also take advantage of their access to networks. So, a multi-factor authentication must be put up for increased protection layers. Business interruptions caused by technological risks is a business risk for Data Analytics Venture Incorporated. Softwares must be updated to the latest versions regularly, as there are instances which result in delays in data analysis. Moreover, having a remote storage is also a control that would provide as a backup for direct online silos, since there is a risk of file corruption. Lastly, an intensive training for IT employees must be conducted to ensure that precise, accurate, and reliable data are gathered. Equipment breakdown resulting to property damages poses a business risk for DHL Summit Solutions Incorporated. Monitoring equipment performance must be regularly done rather than reactively responding to actual worst-case scenarios. As most people say that prevention is better than cure, the same applies with equipment. Fixing problems with a sense of urgency before equipment is used in operations significantly mitigates the risk of breakdown. Additionally, it would also be better to prepare contingency plans and insurances during late discovery of problems. In addressing the imposition of unnecessary charges resulting to competition risk, Manila Electric Company must be transparent to their consumers and end users about the values in bills. Also grounded in this risk is the presence of power theft on Meralco that likely contributes to the sudden increase in bills. Thus, Meralco should install power and energy meter tapping detection and prevention. Mismanagement of human capital poses a business risk for Global Business Power Corporation. Due to the fact that GBPC, as an independent power producer, relies on natural resources to supply renewable energy, the operational environment poses hazards to its workers, ultimately resulting in performance ineffectiveness or even quitting from the job. To mitigate this particular risk, the company should primarily ensure the safety of their employees all throughout the operations while providing them insurance just in case of unprecedented events. As a property company, Singapore Land Group Limited is exposed to property damages. To mitigate this risk, there should be physical inspections and assessments to properties done periodically. Besides, it would be preferable to communicate with a trusted professional in repairs and maintenance. Meanwhile, the most obvious measure in mitigating this risk is to get those properties covered with insurance. However, tenants may also be required to acquire insurance as protection for the properties from damages that they may cause. For Philippine Long Distance Telecommunications Incorporated, or known as PLDT, customer experience issues resulting to reputational risks is a business risk. Thus, PLDT should be keen and responsive to customers' issues. This can be done by creating a sound feedback system. In administering this system, frontline employees must undergo customer service training since customers highly recall how their concerns were heard and acknowledged. Based on the issues gathered, the management should create an immediate yet well-tailored plan. For example, by prioritizing the most common encountered problem.
Under this part of the project, for each business unit, categorize its strategy as being focused on. Under customer intimacy, Robinsons Land Corporation, Universal Robina Corporation, Singapore Land Group Limited, PLDT Incorporation. Under operational excellence, Cebu Pacific, Global Business Power, Meralco, JG Summit Petrochemicals Group, Robinsons Bank. Under product leadership, Luzon International Premier Airport Development Corporation or LIPAD, JG Digital Equity Ventures Incorporation, Data Analytics Ventures Incorporation or DAVI. Customer intimacy is one of the value disciplines adopted by most companies that ensures their customers' satisfaction in line. Universal Robina Corporation. As we can see, the design, names, and product placement of their products like Jack and Jill, C2, and Cool, and Great Taste are rooted from their customers' culture. This in turn increases a fine definition of their customers. Robinsons Land Corporation. They are very much attentive to the specifications and feedback that their customers provide, given that they are in the business of land developments provided for a variety of customers. They adhere to dynamic changes, most likely in relation to their customers' preferences. Singapore Land Group Limited. They personalize the products they created like in that of building, design, and costs that will meet their customers' expectations. They deeply understand their customers' wants and provide them with a full range of services from consultation to monitoring of products provided. PLDT Incorporation. It focuses on their customer satisfaction. They extend their access even to rural communities and extend their retention of brand value. PLDT is concerned with how to make their customers' situation better, especially in the midst of power outages and slow internet connection. Another value discipline that companies adhere to is operational excellence. Robinsons Bank. They continuously improve services by maintaining efficiency through improved processes and automation for speed and hassle-free transactions, like that, for example, indulging in digital banking to avoid frictions and time-consuming appointments. Cebu Pacific. They offer the best combination of price and performance, though their products and services make them more advanced than their competitors. In the midst of the pandemic, they made sure that the employees offering their services are safe so that customers will be safe as well. Meralco. They provide a short range of time-fixing problems on electric lines in order not to prolong the customer's inconvenience. It is a low-priced and better value-focused company. JG Summit Petrochemicals Group. They are standardized enough from manufacturing to distribution of their products on time, despite the business's interruptions like strict regulations on logistics brought by the current pandemic. Global Business Power, a leading power distributor that adheres to operational excellence like Meralco by pursuing diversified technologies and running very efficient lean processes with reliable quality and dependable products and services. The last valued discipline is product leadership that companies like Luzon International Premier Airport Development Corporation, JG Digital Equity Ventures Incorporation, Data Analytic Ventures Incorporation focuses. JG Digital Equity Ventures Incorporation has superior products due to a technology or know-how edge. This is evident when they provide tech startups with capital infusion that accelerates gains. Luzon International Premier Airport Development Corporation also focuses on product leadership, by which they were relentless in the pursuit of new solutions to problems like shifting their sale focus on cargo flights due to the pandemic. Data Analytics Ventures also excel in product leadership by providing a robust data hub called Nexus 360.
So for part 4, identify one corporate social responsibility program of JG Summit Holdings and discuss whether it is a good program or not. Provide also suggestions on how to improve such a program and the reason behind your suggestion. A good CSR is where you can increase awareness and create a positive impact on society. JG Summit Holdings place great significance on their corporate social responsibility. They believe that they should make an effort to be socially responsible because it will benefit both the current and future generations. To quote from an article from JGS, the move towards greater sustainability is strategic in aligning all our corporate social responsibility efforts on empowering communities, elevating our people's lives, and protecting our planet. With these, one program started by the JG Summit, mainly Cebu Pacific, was a sustainable tourism initiative, emphasizing environmental preservation themed One Effect. It is a program that campaigns for travelers to become responsible stewards and tourists. One Effect, 5 reasons why it is a good program. First, the program is a good one because it addresses a fundamental issue, particularly environmental degradation caused by tourism. Stopping pollution is the best solution. Second, the program is a good one because of its feasibility. Cebu Pacific collaborated with the Department of Tourism, Department of Natural Resources, and even the Department of Interior and Local Government. These partnerships made the program possible for various cities like Bohol, for example. Third, the program is a good one because they are not only promoting the one effect but they are also practicing it. It is very important for a CSR in order to be supported by the public if they see the sincerity of the ones proposing it. Fourth, the program is good because it has already reached many individuals as of December 2018. Pledges in the One Effect website have reached 11,500 individuals. Lastly, it is a good program because its impact is a long-term one. It aims to minimize the greenhouse effect caused by tourism. Here you can see how Cebu Pacific is concerned not only for profits but for the environment as well. Suggestions as to the improvement of the CSR and the reasons behind these suggestions. First, the tourist should be given a kit with a to-do list in each travel destination. This will serve as a guide for the tourists for them to know the things that they should be doing and observing. In this manner, when they are more knowledgeable about the goals of the campaign, it will help them appreciate more the reason why this was started in the first place. Second, provide incentives for responsible tourists. This will motivate the tourists to continue doing environmentally friendly practices in the places they travel to. Third, make a platform where the tourists can share the responsible tourist experience. This suggestion will help in reaching more tourists and encouraging them to share the same advocacies of the program. And lastly, there should be a team who would be monitoring the progress of the program. When this suggestion is applied, the people behind the program will be able to know whether what they are doing is making a difference to the environment. If not, they can think of various improvements to make the program a better one.
Part 5, after going over the annual report of JGS, is the document purely financial accounting document or not? Why or why not? The JGS annual report is not purely a financial document. Firstly, by definition, financial documents are written records that depict the business transactions or activities of an entity, particularly their performance for a certain business period. Nonetheless, a simple look in its table of contents of the report, JGS financial records during the year 2020 can be easily found starting page 96. Though their audited financial statements covered more than a half of the whole report, it has been apparent that the first half of the report tells a different emphasis. It started with the 2020 key developments of the organizations, where they have shown their strategic objectives and trimming non-essentials expenditures to sustain their 2020's operations. The JGS investment portfolio, on the other hand, displayed their robust corporate structure. Flexing the large companies under their prestige only shows their dynamic portfolio and company's long-term ambition for success and germane sustainability. JGS annual report also showcases all the company's milestones during the year despite facing the barriers of our writhing economy due to the effects of the pandemic. Accordingly, they have retained their positions as one of the largest and highly diversified conglomerates in the Philippines, and their consistent inflows provided them enough breathing space to withstand our concurrent challenging environment. Moreover, another well-thought initiative coming from the company is their COVID response section in their annual report. JGS Response is a framework that relays the company's strategies for sustainability and development in the following years, especially in the concurrently rapidly dynamic and highly diversified market behavior and evolving business environment. Including this in the report enable the stakeholders to understand what is next for the organization. All the aforementioned sections have never been financial in full nature. However, they are integral component of the whole document as it speaks about all the stakeholders must know of the company. Hence, being said that the idea of it being a pure financial document is inapplicable, but it purports not to undermine the significance of its financial statements, as this portion of the report is still highly regarded as the heart of any report, for it shows the entity's viability and economic significance.